Hi, I'm Shashank Bhargava, and you're listening to Three Things, the Indian Express news show. In this episode, we talk about 11 men in Srinagar being detained for allegedly not standing up during the national anthem. We also talk about a Dalit man being assaulted and humiliated in UP. But first, we talk about the monsoons. The incessant rainfall over the past week has practically brought down North India to its knees. Multiple regions have been witnessing floods, landslides, waterlogging, and several rain-related deaths. In UP, for example, at least 34 people have passed away due to lightning, drowning, and other such causes. In many places, schools, colleges, and offices have also been shut down. And in light of this, yesterday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to senior ministers and officials and took stock of the situation. Now, such incidents are obviously not new. Since the last decade, India has witnessed at least one extreme rain-related event every year.
Since 2013, for example, that's a big marker because 2013 had the Uttarakhand tragedy, the huge flooding and disaster in Uttarakhand in 2013, starting from Kedarnath. So if we take that as the start year, then every following year, without fail, actually, every single year in India has produced at least one major extreme rainfall event.
That's Indian Express's Amitabh Sinha, who has been reporting on the monsoons for the paper.
The famous ones, people would be able to recall very easily. Immediately after Uttarakhand in 2013, Kashmir was flooded, Srinagar was flooded. Now, Kashmir Valley usually don't get flooding, but 2014, Srinagar had unprecedented flooding. That was immediately after Uttarakhand. Then, of course, you had Chennai floodings in 2015, made international headlines. Now, it was a big event. Then, of course, 2018, Kerala. Kerala gets huge rainfall every year. But in 2018, that turned into a disaster. Lots of flooding, huge amount of property got destroyed. So those were big events.
And besides this, such events have also taken place in Bengaluru, Pune, Delhi, Gurgaon, Bihar, and Assam.
So across the country, we have had major rainfall events which have resulted in floodings and disaster-like situations.
And he says that this trend is very much in line with what scientists have been warning us for years and should be seen in the context of climate change.
Scientists have been warning us for a fairly long time now that these kind of events would become more and more normal, that they will become more and more frequent and will get normalized. And when I say these kind of events, in the context of rainfall, the events that we are talking about is about extreme rainfall events. Their frequency and intensity both are supposed to increase under climate change circumstances.
So this means very heavy rainfall over short periods of time.
So instead of, say, getting 100 millimeters of rain over 20 days, now you are getting 100 millimeters of rain within 5 days or 6 days. So the extreme rainfall events wherein you get very, very heavy rainfall within a short period of time, those kind of events have been on the increase, not just in India, but everywhere else. And this is something that is very well predicted by climate change scientists.
And these events are unavoidable and will continue to take place in the future as well. But Amitabh says that what can be minimized is the destruction that comes along with it, especially in urban areas.
A lot of the situation that develops as a result of heavy rainfall in the urban areas are easily avoided, and they are a result of neglect, official apathy, that just the lack of application of some basic civic rules. That's the reason why we see flooding in Bengaluru every year, flooding in Gurgaon, flooding in Delhi, flooding in Mumbai. So a lot of these things, even the flooding in what we saw in Srinagar, for example, or Kerala, they were aggravated because of human errors. It wasn't just the rainfall. Of course, the rainfall did play a major contribution, and that was the trigger, of course. But the way we have developed our cities, allowing construction in areas which should ideally have been no-go areas from the point of view of construction, riverbeds, for example, in Kerala in 2018, and lots of houses or hotels got destroyed because they were built on the floodplains. And usually for very long, actually, the river was not flowing in full force. And therefore, parts of the floodplains, they remained dry for a very long time, and people went and built on those areas. Now, of course, the civic authorities should not have allowed those kind of things to happen. And once the river comes in full flow, then there is very little that can be done about it.
And he says this is exactly what happened in Srinagar as well, where there are a lot of overpopulated areas near the river Jhelum, and which have witnessed flooding this time.
And those areas are not meant to be populated. Over the years, these have developed into residential colonies, commercial centers, all sorts of things. And suddenly when the water came in Jhelum and it spilled over onto outside the river, these areas got flooded and there was no exit for the water. So it remained flooded for a very long time. So a lot of these kind of bad planning turns out to be aggravating factors in situations like this. That's why I say that you can't do much about heavy extreme rainfall events, but certainly the floodings, and especially the urban floodings, is something that surely can be dealt with. All of this is part of larger civic apathy and the lack of application of basic civic rules. Mumbai has a drainage problem. Pune has a different kind of problem, but all of them are solvable and all of them have resulted because basic rules have been violated in these cities.
And next we talk about Srinagar. It has now come to light that last month, 11 men were detained and bound down for allegedly not rising for the national anthem at an event which was attended by Jammu and Kashmir Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha. In fact, the action was initiated after Sinha took serious note of the incident. In this segment, we speak to Indian Express's Apurva Vishwanath about this case and what the Supreme Court has said about the national anthem in the past. Apurva, these men were detained and bound down. Could you first explain what bound down means?
So the Srinagar police in a tweet clarified that 11 men were bound down under sections 107 and 151 of the CRPC for good behavior. So bound down is not a term that is mentioned anywhere in the CRPC or the IPC, but it is generally referred to in legal terms to indicate that on so-and-so date, the accused would be bound down to appear before the authorities. That just means, like one would say in Hindi, us din peshi honi hai unko, which means on a particular date, they would have to show up either before the police or before a magistrate, whatever the terms of that being bound down is. And that's pretty much it, which means the accused has not been arrested and has just been told to appear before the authorities for the next course of action.
And Apurva, how unusual is it for someone to get detained for allegedly not standing up for the national anthem?
So we've not really heard of many arrests for not standing up for the national anthem. In many other countries, this is a very legitimate form of protest. And in fact, in a landmark free speech case in Bijoy Emanuel versus State of Kerala, the Supreme Court has said that not singing the national anthem would not be a violation of law. But however, even in that case, the court said that just standing up, being respectful of the national anthem is enough. You don't have to necessarily sing the national anthem. So you have to look at these detentions in the unique context of the Kashmir politics. The fact that the LG was present at that event and he took note of the fact that some people did not stand up for the national anthem. But it also shows that the police handled this matter differently because the men involved here were not arrested.
Yeah, they were detained and bound down, as we earlier mentioned. And the section under which they have been detained is 107 of the CRPC. Could you tell us what exactly that is?
So, Section 107 of the CRPC allows a magistrate to basically ensure that a person does not breach peace or public tranquility. It's like a preventive detention clause. For example, a day before some big public event is supposed to happen, some people in question could be asked to be house arrested or, to maintain law and order. So here the magistrate could ask the person to execute a bond. There could be a surety involved or not. But this is one provision which is for keeping the peace. And this detention can even go up to a year. So this is one provision that the police mentioned. The other is, of course, Section 151 of the CRPC, which basically gives a police officer the power to arrest without orders from a magistrate and without a warrant. So these are the two provisions that the police mentioned under which the accused had been bound down.
Okay, so if we were to consider the Bijoy Emmanuel case, would it be fair to say that forcing someone to at least sing the national anthem is a violation of their fundamental rights?
Yeah, so Bijoy Emmanuel very clearly says that a person cannot be forced to sing the national anthem. And by not singing itself, one does not violate the Prevention of Insults to National Honor Act, which is a specific legislation we have to ensure that there is no disrespect of the national symbols, the national flag, the national anthem, and all these things. But however, even in Bijoy Emmanuel, the court talks about standing up and paying respect. So that is the gray area here. For example, if you remember, there was a Supreme Court order some time ago requiring cinema halls to compulsorily play the national anthem. And not standing up for the national anthem here had become an issue. But you did not have arrests happening. I mean, it did lead to some sort of public disorder where other people would start moral policing you. But, there was never any conversation around the police arresting a person for not standing up for the national anthem.
And in the end, we talk about a case that once again highlights the prevalence of caste violence in India. Earlier this month, a contractual worker with the electricity department in Uttar Pradesh's Sonbhadra district allegedly assaulted a Dalit man and made him lick his shoes. The incident was caught on video and even went viral on social media, leading to the arrest of the man in question. In this segment, Indian Express's Asad Rehman, who reported on the matter, tells us what transpired.
So on July 8th, some videos started going viral on social media where a man in his early 40s is seen assaulting a younger man. Police took cognizance of the video and it was found that the video was shot in Shahganj area of Sonbhadra district in Uttar Pradesh. The video shows that this man, who was later identified as a contractual worker in the electricity department, he's seen assaulting this 21-year-old man named Rajendra Chamar, and he's making the victim lick his shoes and is mercilessly beating him in the videos while he is asking him to stop, and he's apologizing and saying sorry.
कहाँ घर बता घर यार घर है चले कहाँ घर बता यही ना बताओ थी हम चले हम चल बैठ मोटरसाइकिल पे.
Now, once police took cognizance of the issue, they got the complainant over to the police station and made him write a complaint about what had happened. And in the complaint, Rajendra Chamar told the police that this man, Tejbali Singh Patel, who's a contractual lineman in the electricity department in Sonbhadra district, he had assaulted him after this youth went and checked the electricity supply and some wiring, because at his uncle's house where he was visiting, there was some issue with the electricity. So he went and tried to check that, which angered Tejbali Singh Patel, the electricity worker. And that is the supposed reason that was given by the victim for being assaulted. And police sprung into action and took strict action against the accused, Tejbali Singh Patel, and arrested him soon after.
And Asad, could you tell us what kind of charges have been filed against him?
So, Tejbali Singh Patel is seen in the videos assaulting this man, making him lick his shoes, and which is a crime under the Prevention of Atrocities Against Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes Act of India. And the accused, Tejbali Singh Patel, has been booked for sections of assault and under the Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes Act. And he has been sent to judicial custody for 14 days and he's granted bail by a court. He'll remain in jail.
Right, and since the incident came to light, a number of political parties have reacted to it. Could you tell us what they have said?
So, principal opposition leader in Uttar Pradesh, Akhilesh Yadav, who's the Samajwadi Party president, he tweeted a video of the incident and asked about where the bulldozer of the UP government is, which is seen very frequently in UP, demolishing houses of people accused in crimes. Then Azad Samaj Party and Bhim Army President Chandrasekhar Azad also reacted about it. And he also pointed out that the accused is actually not an upper caste man, but he belongs to a backward community, which comes under the OBC category. And Chandrasekhar pointed out that this person, Tejbali Singh Patel, is pretending to be a fake upper caste man and that he has a very feudal mindset, and that is why he's committing such a crime against this helpless person who's younger to him and who's being assaulted in the video. Then the Congress also questioned the incident and also asked some questions about the law and order situation in the state and condemned the incident.
You were listening to Three Things by the Indian Express. Today's show was written and produced by me, Shashank Bhargava, and was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it, share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can tweet us at Express Podcasts and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.